Good morning, and welcome to the virtual worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Meeting House of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we support each other in our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name is Reverend Kate Wilkinson, and I am so glad that you have joined us this week. Today, we are celebrating the winter solstice. The ancient people saw the flow of time as circular, not linear, and the changing seasons were understood as a great wheel, the wheel of the year. The winter season was given the name Yule, an Anglo-Saxon word meaning wheel. The green wreaths that decorate our doors and windows are a symbol of the new year and its turning. Today we are gathered to observe the turning of the wheel of this season. Today we celebrate the special night of the winter solstice, which will happen tomorrow night. In the northern hemisphere, this is the longest night of the year. Yet in this night for us, in this time of greatest darkness, the light is reborn. After the winter solstice, the sun will grow stronger and stronger until we reach the time of the longest day, the summer solstice. In ancient times, the return of the light was not taken for granted. People believed that they must help the light to be reborn by honoring the time of darkness. The people were to watch and wait, kindling hope in their hearts. They prayed and feasted. They decorated their homes so that the new light would find welcome and beauty in the new year. They exchanged gifts with one another in honor of the life-giving gift of the increasing light. And while they waited, they told stories to explain the light's coming and going. Today we tell the story of how both the light and the dark enrich our lives. We tell the story of the turning wheel and how the light will be reborn. And we tell the story of what we will help to bring into the light. Our choir will offer us a beautiful song celebrating the dark of winter. And we are also joined by my fiddle teacher, Rose CLANCY. This week, as the sun pauses in its arc across the sky and turns from its downward trajectory to begin again to lengthen our days, let us too pause. Let us pause to reflect on the light and the dark of our lives. Let us pause to rekindle our own flames. Let us pause to share our spark with those around us. As Moses said last week, sharing and amplifying the light. I welcome you into this time and space set apart from the demands of the season. A time to breathe, a time to reflect and perhaps to refresh. May this be a restful time for you. At the end of the service, I'll share with you a poem by Susan Cooper called The Shortest Day. The last line of the poem is, "Welcome Yule." And when I say that, your job is to echo back to me, "Welcome Yule." So tuck that away for later. Typically at our winter solstice gathering, we cast the circle to make sacred the space as we celebrate the return of the light in the midst of darkness. Today we cast a circle that extends far beyond this one room, a circle that extends to include each of you joining us from home. And now, while I light our chalice here at the meeting house, I invite you to light a candle wherever you are. Together we create sacred space right where we are.
In the bleak and cold of this winter, let's gather ourselves in spirit, to light the fire, to warm our bodies. Together, let's kindle the flame of love and hope.
As well as celebrating Solstice this morning, we are also marking the fourth Sunday of Advent in the Christian tradition. Each week until Christmas, we have been lighting a new candle on the Advent wreath, symbols of hope, peace, joy, and love. As the season reaches its completion, we prepare for new life to dawn. Our hearts soften and our arms open to embrace its brightness. This morning we light the fourth candle. We light this candle as a reminder that there is no greater power in the world than love. Through this community, we can become a blessing to one another. Our love is magnified and lives are changed. We can hardly wait any longer for the wonder of love to be revealed. May we risk enough to become vulnerable and welcome holy tenderness. sometimes we are afraid of the dark, of the long, slow winter. This year we worry about how the isolation will get to us, how our spirits will survive another period of waiting. When we start to become fearful, it sometimes helps to think about how our own emotional cycles are overlaid onto the cycles of the earth. How our remaining months of social distancing perfectly coincide with a time of rest and hibernation in the northern hemisphere. And that the darkness does not last forever. But time spent there offers its own gifts. Things germinate in the dark. Our eyes get a rest in the dark. Our spirits are held in the dark like in a womb. In her meditation on the darkness, Janet Morley writes, "And you held me, and there were no words, and there was no time, and you held me, and there was only wanting and being held, and being filled with wanting. And I was nothing but letting go and being held, and there were no words, and there were no words that were needed. And there was no terror, only stillness, and I was wanting nothing, and it was fullness, and it was like aching, and it was tough, and warmth and darkness, and no time and no words, and we flowed, and I flowed, and I was not empty, and I was given up to the dark. And in the darkness I was not lost, and the waiting was like fullness, and I could hardly hold it, and I was held, and you were dark and warm, and without time, and without words, and you held me." Right now, I invite you to imagine that it is the end of the day, and the sky is just beginning to darken, and you face the long night ahead of you. And you are not afraid. You are calm and at peace with the coming darkness, looking forward to it even. I invite you to relax into the changing of the light, the turning of the wheel. Mystic witch Irene Glass writes, "When I think about Yule, I think about the way hope, renewal, and second chances are born out of the dark. Yule is the moment when we know that the night will not last forever. We see that it was part of a pattern, and that the sacred sun, the fire at the heart of our galaxy, remains constant. We hold the thread of light even when the darkness makes us tremble. And we know if we follow it, we will emerge once more. This is a night of long darkness. But each day from here on out, we will have a little bit more daylight. And although this is a time in the world when there is so much uncertainty and fear and sadness, there is always the possibility of adding a little more light to that world with our intentions, our actions, and our connections. Just like the ancients, we can believe and celebrate that there are things we can do to ensure the return of the light. We can help to kindle the light for ourselves and for others. And so we bring our intentions into the light.
On this solstice, I bring generosity and humility into the light.
I would like to bring hope into the light.
I bring community into the light.
I bring courage into the light.
I bring reunion and compassion into the light.
I bring grief into the light.
I bring racial justice into the light.
I bring hope into the light.
I bring accountability into the light.
I bring love into the light.
I bring tolerance into the light.
I bring Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, into the light.
The laughter of children is how I lift my light.
I bring kindness and joy to the light.
I bring healing into the light.
I bring appreciation into the light.
I bring courage into the light.
I bring resilience into the light.
I bring into the light adventure.
I bring laughter into the light.
I bring peace and hope into the light.
I bring healing into the light.
I bring family into the light.
I bring creativity into the light.
I bring truth and freedom into the light.
And so the shortest day came, and the year died, and everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world came people, singing, dancing, to drive the dark away. They lighted candles in the winter trees, they hung their homes with evergreen, they burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the New Year's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling. Through all the frosty ages you can hear them, echoing behind us. Listen. All the long echoes sing the same delight this shortest day. As promise wakens in the sleeping land, they carol, feast, give thanks, and dearly love their friends, and hope for peace. And now so do we, here, now this year and every year. Welcome Yule. Welcome Yule.